Welcome back. As I mentioned, we have Dr. Kyle Hehe here on behalf of Providence Mission Hospital. And you and I were chatting a little bit off camera about the correlation between foot problems and diabetes, and so we're going to talk a little bit about that. But thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
You know, diabetes overall is really just, it's an unfortunate situation that people have this type of disease, and there are so many different things that can go wrong. So when we talk about diabetes, you are in the podiatry field, and before we even talk about the correlation, tell me what the field is that you are in.
So I'm in podiatry, so we deal specifically with foot and ankle issues, a whole realm of from sports medicine to trauma to the diabetic foot care. So it's a very interesting field. It keeps you on your toes, pun intended. Yeah, it's a very interesting field, and we treat pretty much anything below the knee.
Okay, so when somebody does have diabetes or they're diagnosed with diabetes, is that when you end up having people, or at what point do you see someone that has diabetes?
Generally, after they're diagnosed with diabetes, the primary care doctor will refer them to us to get a general examination. And then from that point, depending on their risk factors, we'll have them follow up on a regular basis, whether it's every 6 months to a year just for general checkups.
Okay.
Or if they have a history of any infections or wounds, then it's a little bit more frequent. And we'll take care of calluses, nails, anything like that a patient might not be able to do on their own.
Okay.
So anything in that 3-month to 6-month time frame.
Now, off camera, we were talking about what diabetes does to the body, which would prevent you from having, well, which will cause you to have many issues in your foot. So tell me what's happening to the body.
Yeah, so in general terms, it's having the high blood sugar is what kind of gives you that diagnosis of diabetes. Having that chronic high blood sugar for long periods of time pretty much deadens the nerves. So patients will get sensations of either numbness, tingling, or burning in their feet. And so the most dangerous part of it is when it's numbness, because as we were talking about with it being very hot out now, we'll have patients come in walking on hot pavements and surfaces, not feeling it burning their feet. So they come into us and their bottom of their feet are completely burned.
Oh my gosh.
But other things too, you know, there's rocks in their shoes and they might not even feel it, and then it turns into a blister or a wound. So being very cautious with that, and that's kind of what I push a lot of my patients to do, is just check their feet regularly to make sure that there's nothing brewing there that they need to be seen for before it becomes a bigger problem where they're in the hospital.
But then once you're diagnosed with diabetes, though, don't you have ways to monitor your glucose so you can certainly see whether or not you're reaching these higher levels?
Absolutely. So I definitely encourage them to follow up with their primary care doctor or their endocrinologist regularly to make sure they're on the right medications to keep that blood sugar under a good level. When those do get high up above about 200, your body just can't focus on trying to fight the high blood sugar and trying to fight a problem like a foot infection at the same time. So those infections become a bigger issue than they would have if the blood sugars were under control.
So if they were under, like you said, if they were under control and you didn't reach those types of numbers on a regular basis, would you then help prevent yourself from getting these types of foot problems?
Absolutely. And not even just foot problems too, other problems with sight, your kidney issues, cardiovascular disease.
Wow.
So keeping them under control is the first step of trying to prevent any of these other issues.
Okay. And then I guess at what point should someone come to see you? I mean, of course, they're going to visit their primary doctor, but what if they wanted to see you on their own for any particular reason? Are there certain types of signs and things that they should be looking for? Absolutely.
So I always encourage patients, even if they think it's not a big deal, just to come and see me. I'd much rather them come in for not a big deal and then me send them home rather than come in and I have to send them into the hospital. So if there's any concern of either pain, if there's redness, swelling of the feet, any cuts, blisters, more than happy to see patients at that point and make sure that they have the right things that they need to treat it.
Okay.
So yeah, they don't have to necessarily go through their primary care doctor to come and see me. They can set up an appointment on their own as well.
Okay, all right, excellent. And then I know you mentioned that you pretty much take care of everything that happens kind of below the knee, and it doesn't necessarily have to be related to diabetes.
No, not necessarily. It can be plantar fasciitis, heel pain. You see warts, calluses, ankle fractures, anything under that.
How about those darn bunions?
Yeah, we see a lot of bunions too, a lot of bunions. So yeah, we see anything under the sun.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you so much for the information. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. If you want more information about podiatry, and if you have questions about diabetes, you can always type in the URL. It's artesian foot and ankle. We'll be right back.